Good morning. This is Holly with HollysJoys, and I'm here with a scripture that I want to talk about. And it's in Job 33:4. And I don't know about you, but I was not raised thinking that I had any value. I was not raised, actually, I did have value. I was like labor from my parents. This is before TVs had controllers, and I was to adjust the television, and I also did the lawn work, and so I mowed the grass, and I worked in our garden, and I was the painted the fence and just did different. I was a person who made their tasks lighter, and it was hard for me because I've never really been a super physical person. Part of that is because I was never allowed to express my physical in joy. Like, you can't run and jump and play and laugh and be a child. You have to, like, go over there and muck the floors, like you're doing all the heavy lifting, and that's really, and I don't know, I think it was just the time in history of which that I was a kid, because I do believe there's probably still people, and I think there are times in history overlap. Obviously, these things don't turn on a dime, but I think we're making a turn, and I think it's a turn for the better. And I think an awful lot of things have swung the pendulum way too far the other way, but I do see positive movement in that where people are talking to their children and really caring about who they are as people and recognizing that they are people. I think that was even a difficult thing for me, having been raised in a traumatic situation, and my mother struggled with mental illness, and I have videos about that, and I go into some detail about what happened with her. And but how it has affected the rest of my adult life. And I have to realize that I walked through that. I lived through that. I used my coping skills through that with the help of the Lord. And that's what this scripture is going to be talking about. So this is Job 33:4, and it says, "The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life." Let me read it again. "The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life." I mean, that really touches my heart. And my family did not have any spiritual belief to speak of. We never went to any kind of church or spiritual training of any kind, but we did have a Bible that was tucked up under. My mom had one of those little end tables that had kind of a little door that swung open, and she had little books and stuff under there, and there was a Bible with the red words in it, and I would get that out as a very small child and just read over the red words, and I always knew that he was there. I did not always understand, and I still think that my understanding is very limited, but I'm willing, and I'm listening, and I'm delving in, and I'm really stirring my faith, and I'm hoping that that's what's happening with you, because I'm not alone in having childhood trauma and recognizing that it has affected me as an adult. So this scripture that talks about God has made me, the Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. That right there tells me I have value and purpose, because if I didn't have value or purpose, I would not be here. And I've struggled with that thought. What is my purpose? What is my value beyond just like picking stones out of the garden, or watering the garden, or harvesting the garden? And there's value in all of that. But I always felt like it's not a balanced life when that's all there is. It's just not a balanced life. And I do think the Lord likes balance, and He's created the earth to be in balance. So when we're skewed to too much heavy lifting and not enough spiritual seeking, or even intellectual seeking, or communication with other people, like friendships and things, I think all of it we need to have in balance. And so just think about that for yourself today. And if you're someone who has struggled with the way you were raised, and then you have these things in your head going, oh, I really don't have much value. I don't add much to this world. This doesn't even make sense. Remember that the Spirit of God made you, and the breath of the Almighty gives you life. And you know what? Each breath okay, so you can stop breathing right now. Just hold your breath. And you need that to be breathed in each one. I think you can go maybe a minute. So you need a breath of God every time. Every time you breathe in, think of it. This is the Lord giving me life. The breath of God literally gives me life. And I think that maybe you can grow to appreciate yourself in a new way. At least I have. And I am grateful for that. I do feel better. I sleep better. I'm happier. I'm more joyous. And to really understand that I do have something to offer, or I would not be here. I don't always know what it is. Most of the time, I don't know what it is, but that's okay. I mean, I believe that there's a big plan that I am not privy to seeing. And so when I just give in to the moment, find my highest joy, be in peace, love, and harmony with the world around me, and just flow from one experience to the other, and keep my heart open and look for those tender moments. And just when I struggle, I think I am breathing in by the breath of God, and He apparently still wants me to be here, or I would not be. So go today, and as you take breaths in, and I've heard a lot of people, and I do meditations and whatnot, and a lot of meditative people talk about the breath work. And I do think that just the awareness of the breath really, really makes an impact in a positive way in your life. So just think about it today as you go into your laboratory of life, and experiment with some things. If any of this touched you, and that you went, okay, yeah, I struggle with that too. I don't know who I am, like, beyond just heavy lifting kind of activities, or just, I don't know, whatever is, you're kind of been put in this box, and maybe it's not super fulfilling. Maybe you're lacking a little balance. I'm more balanced than I've ever been, but I know there's still a lot of room for improvement, and I'm super excited about it. So come back and see me again here at Holly's Joys on YouTube. Please subscribe and check out my patio pet page on Facebook. That's where I do some of the things that this is one of my things I do to balance my life, is I enjoy painting and drawing and crafting and doing, just fiddling with things with my hands, and I really, really do enjoy that. And we'll see you next time. I appreciate you. I also have a cat, and I have a lot of cat videos, and he brings me a lot of joy too. He's an annoying thing, but he's a lot of fun. And we'll see you next time. Hey, have a great day, and know the breath of God brings you life. And we'll see you next time. Bye.